today we have Jon McCabe with us.
Yeah, I'm stoked on Parawinging right now. Just frothing from my session earlier today. I don't know what it is. It's a truer connection to the wind, I think, and this ability just to shift into other modes where you're not using the wind as well. I think there's a routine that has to be kind of programmed in your brain and with your hands. Until you get a lot of reps at that, you're not going to have it. I'm pretty much always taking 2 Parawings now. Probably the first one out of the gates, I know I was, that just chopped the lines. Anything that's new, cutting edge, I want to be the first one trying it. I really want to take my personal riding to the next level. There's this visualization you have of how you want to ride, who you want to be when you're in these critical moments, right? It's obvious to me that this is the future. What is the biggest Parawing I can take? What is the smallest foil I can take? Where's the limit on this?
Welcome to the Lab Rat Foiler podcast. My name is Dan, and today we have Jon McCabe with us. Jon is a multi-sports athlete. He's been around kiting, winging, foiling for a long time. Jon, you've seen these disciplines grow, so now that you're into Parawinging, I'm really interested to see how your views on the Parawing, will be for the next couple of years. So welcome to the podcast, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm stoked on Parawinging right now, just frothing from my session earlier today. And excited to share my thoughts about it all.
I love it, man. You still have wet hair, it's good to see that, you're getting your sessions out there. And I like that we have so much to talk about, man. And you just won the race, the Parawing race in Maui during the race season. We're going to be talking about that. I heard it was pretty gnarly experience from, a condition point of view. And, the end of the race must have been really exciting given the results. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about gear, progression of gear. I know you have a lot of insight on that as well. But I think it's worth, us talking a little bit about your history in sports. You have a very unique and rich background in sports in general and in extreme sports. So take us through that journey, man. Like, where did it all start for you, and how did you ultimately, end up foiling? But there was a lot before that I think is worth us talking about.
Yeah, so my journey started in West Virginia. You probably weren't expecting that. I was pretty landlocked, a skier from, a little mountain town. So snow sports was the start, and just having that feeling of, weightless speed, I think, was kind of the attraction to skiing.
Mm-hmm.
Hitting the jumps became like all I wanted to do, half pipes, you name it. So that was kind of my first taste of adrenaline, my first exciting sport that I really committed to, I'd say. From there, I ended up in Colorado for school, and skiing was obviously in the back of my mind every day I could do it. So I would be going up to the ski resorts in Colorado pretty much 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I had school on Tuesday, Thursdays only. So I like
heaven.
Perfectly made that schedule and avoided the weekend crowds altogether. So yeah, I just really committed to freestyle skiing and never really got to, that pro level that I thought I might be able to. But, I think I had a lot of barriers to entry from where I was from to get to that level. I really think you have to be like really born into it a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyways, it was super awesome experience to get to go through that. And then I actually was in Maui for my dad and mom divorced. So my dad remarried in Maui. I just so happened to see the Red Bull King of the Air event while we were here. First time ever to Maui.
Sick.
I think that was in 2004 or five. I can't remember, but um, I got to watch like Robbie Nash and Ruben Linton and the guys that if any kiters are listening or watching, really wanted to be and dreamed to be, because they're doing just the best airs you've ever seen.
Mm.
Mega loops. Jesse Richmond, got to give him props.
Mm.
He's still just charging better than anybody.
The ultimate sender.
Yeah, yeah. No matter what, that guy's gonna send.
Yeah.
So they were all out there. He was tiny back then. I don't remember seeing him in the event, but it's just his brother Sean was always my like. I was like, if I could ever ride like that guy, it would be just the best day of my life.
Mm.
So I got to meet those guys when I ended up moving out here. But I guess before that, I go back to Colorado. I start researching this kiteboarding sport. I'm like, man,
Hmm.
I want to land soft. So skiing was not gentle on my body.
Yeah.
I was taking some hard landings, flat landings, you name it. Luckily, I was young enough to absorb a lot of that impact, but it ended up being a transition for me, because it's like, okay, well, you're not really making this as a professional athlete. So why don't you look for other things that you just want to enjoy? And
Mm.
kiting really had that draw to me. Um, Mainly because of how high these guys are jumping, mainly because how soft they're landing. So those two things just really I identified with,
Yeah.
and I knew I was gonna do that. So it was just a slow progression from there to get to the level of kiting I'm at now. But I researched it. I'm seeing people have kite mares on every video I watch. I'm just like, man, this doesn't look too safe. I
Yeah.
might need to like put the brakes on a bit. And
Yep.
as soon as the bow kite came out, which
Mm.
allowed for more depower, and I kind of was right in that whole evolution. That's when I dove into buying a big kite and really committing to the sport. I wasn't near the water though, so this dream of being in the waves in Maui was just a dream. It was more at that point for me to use it with what I knew how to do, skiing.
Hmm.
So I had a lot of time on a lake with the guy that got me into kiting, really, Anton Reynold, Colorado Kite Force. Got to give him some props. I mean, he
Sick.
started a snow kiting school in 2004.
Wow. That's
So
really
yeah,
early.
yeah, and it was really successful. But he was the one that kind of brought me in after college and was like, "Hey, if you want a job, I got a shop. You can start teaching." I really didn't have much experience. I flew a trainer kite for like a year or two in a
Hmm.
field. Got like launched one day, where I was trying to impress this girl. I was like, "It's gonna be epic," and I like put my skis on. First time ever having a ski and a kite together, and I go to this field and I'm like, it's really windy. I don't think I'm gonna let you fly the kite. Let me try it first. And I like clip into my skis and I hot launch this tiny little kite, like 3 meter kite or whatever. Kind of like what we're riding now is a
Yeah.
Peter Lynn though. But as soon as the thing launches, I go flying like full rally mode. Double eject, hit the ground, get drugged like through this snow, and then the lines just break and the kite's
Oh
gone.
God.
And I'm just so like defeated, just like that was not cool.
The girl
And I
was like,
think,
"You were gonna put me on that?"
yeah, she's
It's
just
like,
laughing. She's just like, you are a lunatic, like it's like, this is what you do in your free time. Yeah, it's pretty funny though. But and then I looked up the wind, it was blowing like 50 plus, and
oh God.
I don't know if you've ever been to Colorado, but there's like a big front range of mountains and the wind comes over those.
Hmm.
So it's just super turbulent in Boulder, which is where I was. And yeah, when the wind comes, it's like, it's not even enjoyable to fly anything. It's really katabatic and just
Yeah.
turbulent. Yeah. but so from there, I didn't that wasn't the end. I got back on the horse, eventually graduated, had a
Mm.
corporate job lined up, and saw the cubicle I was supposed to work in, and literally um, quit that week, moved up to the mountains
Yeah.
because I had this snow kiting job lined up too, and started teaching. It turned into, racing and jumping off mountains and flying. There was a guy named Chosta back then that everybody wanted to be in the snow kite world, and
Hmm.
he was kind of the face of Ozone for me. And yeah, once I saw him ride in person, I knew that okay, that's my ticket. That's who
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. I'll just be the skiing version
Hmm. Hmm.
because he was a
Yeah, that's sick.
snowboarder. But yeah, there was some really, really talented guys that we all, had a group and went on tour and really just had a really fun few years of snow kiting when I would say, kind of maxed out. And then it never really took off like kiteboarding did in my mind.
Yeah.
But I did, it gave me this really solid foundation to transition into the water. So eventually started teaching in Maui and still here today. It's been over 15 years on Maui. Yeah.
That's sick, man. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
what was that transition from the kite to the foil? Were you kite foiling or did you try something else on the foil
Yeah.
first?
So first time foiling was with a kite.
Hmm.
Um, I don't remember the foil, unfortunately, but I wish I could remember what foil I started on. Oh, I do remember. So it was Adam Cook's foil. And yeah, I don't know if you know who he is, but just legendary Red Bull kiter from back in the day. He still has a lot of roots here in Maui, and
Hmm.
yeah, one of the fastest guys in the race world. He was kind of him and Heineken that were battling a bunch
Hmm.
for a while there. And anyways, he had this crazy race foil. I think either Rista was making it, or I don't even know who had that foil. But anyways, super high aspect, like almost impossible to ride for a beginner. He's like, just go for it. You'll figure it out. And I jump on this thing and literally just straight up win, like best tack of my life still to this day,
Nice.
at least in my mind, And
Yeah.
I couldn't get back. I went
Yeah.
upwind and I couldn't go downwind.
It's
So
hard to do that on the kite foil, actually. Yeah, I remember it
yeah,
took me a while to understand how to go downwind on the kite.
so I kind of like cranked upwind and then just like kept falling to get back downwind.
Mm.
And I came in. He's like, "What do you think? What do you think?" And I'm like, "I need a day to think about this." And this is like early beginnings of kite foiling, I would say. And yeah, it really. I think that night I slept on it, woke up, all I could do is think about that weightless feeling. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's so intoxicating once you feel that third axis that you get on the foil that you don't with other board sports or skiing for that matter. And then once you
Yeah.
feel it, you just want to like become a master at it. It just consumes you so quick. After I did
Yes.
my first session on the kite, I literally touched the twin tip twice after that, and
Oh
uh,
wow.
yeah, I
Yeah.
went
So
full beans on it.
I like still have, and even to this day, I still love the twin tip. I can't give it up. There's something about that big air experience
Mm,
on the twin tip I just can't let go. But foiling really didn't click for me at that moment. It took time to get on an easier foil.
hmm.
And luckily a client I was teaching how to lift foil, kind of one of the first gen ones. And while he's out there and I'm running safety, I'm learning how to foil on his gear.
Nice.
Um, so that was kind of an awesome way to learn is, I'm making money, I'm getting paid, I'm, kind of living the dream in that moment and also learning how to foil. So yeah, that was always kind of my goal with coming here and being in the water sports industry was to be able to ride and just enjoy life while I'm also
Hmm.
helping others get better at things, you know.
And
Um,
then from kite foiling, what did you progress into? Did you go into prone or did you go into winging straight away?
so kite foiling went to sup foiling. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I actually
So
saw a photo on your Insta with a Armstrong foil, a double kind of nose board. I don't even know what that was.
yeah, yeah. So Army shows up. I had met Army in New Zealand a long time ago. He was like shooting videos for Ozone snow kiting.
Hmm.
And I was on a trip down there. I don't really remember the exact details, but you know, same energy. If you've ever met Army, just this guy's got way too much energy. But same guy, you know, back then as he is today.
Yeah.
Just so like excited about life and adventure and everything. And he shows up here and he's got this giant mothership pickle fork sup board.
Yep.
And I'm just like, what is this thing? And then he's got, you know, a 1600 super thick volume foil with it. And GoFoil was already developing things similar. You
Hmm.
know, that's, you know, with Kai and all of that. So he was kind of right there with them at the same time in my mind. Um, Maybe even earlier because he was going on these downwind missions on that setup.
Jesus.
And I tried it with him out there and it was absolutely miserable. I was like, I don't know how Kai does this downwind thing, but it's this isn't working, you know. I remember Army would get up for like a few seconds and you know just paddle the whole thing back then. And then you know we all tried and we had kites. We were hooking up to each other just to get up on foil and see how
Mm.
far you could ride it, and that was working a lot better. Um, but at that time, I needed the wave energy, like an actually breaking wave, to have fun with that. And I found it sort of limiting on what size of wave I could actually take off on.
Yeah.
So there was that side of it too. But yeah, it was fun to be at the beginning for that and experience that. I did kind of like burn out in a weird way, like where I was like, well, the waves are firing, like I need
Mm.
to surf. I need to
Yeah.
like do other things and then I'd say between there was like a kind of a big gap there where winging wasn't out yet and foils weren't where they need to be yet and boards too. Like everything was
Hmm.
kind of sluggish, kind of like, okay, I'm doing it. It's giving me that feeling, but I'm not ripping turns. I'm not and there was also like this side of you know, surf lineups that really did not want it there. So you
Yep.
really had to find the waves that no one's on. And that can be a little challenging too. The last thing I wanted to do is like ruin somebody's experience in the water because I'm out on the giant mothership and you know catching waves or whatever. It was kind of a it was kind of an interesting time, but I kind of set that to the side for a bit. And once the foils you know got better, thinner, it was all prone for a while. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. And then winging and of course now we got our parawing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I love to hear those stories because when I saw the Parawing, I kind of knew what to do with it because of that background in kiting and everything, but I didn't know everything that it would open up. What was your first exposure to Parawinging?
Um, you know, the first exposure was definitely Sam
Mm-hmm.
on his pocket wings. He still is way ahead of the game on all of us, I think. You know, I'd say a year and a half in front of the pack, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was dropping, I guess the big was like we all saw what he was doing, but we all didn't identify with it for whatever reason. And one day he's like, "Hey, can you take me upwind?" And I take him upwind, drop him at pavilions at that Ho'okipa Beach Park where I just rode. And I watched him. I was like, I'm gonna sit around and watch him. Like these waves are kind of
Mm,
pumping. Like I want to see what he's so frothing about. And I actually watch him like catch this wave way outside, drain it all the way down through point, which is a long way, kind of get back upwind, hit a couple more, and I'm like, huh, I want to do that. Like that
mm-hmm,
looked sick
mm-hmm,
because I wasn't seeing that at like our main beach because he wasn't really able to put it all together on that upwind side at our beach. He would just fly through and we'd be like, okay, yeah. Um, but I guess I wasn't really into the downwind like I am now then. So I wasn't really, I don't know, we just weren't really there yet mentally. And now that, you know, Greg pulls out the bar, everything was like,
mm.
oh yeah, this is just like the kite I'm used to. It's just turned 90 degrees, right?
Yeah, it was
Um,
crazy. It was a visually a very small tweak. I know technically that's a big change, but visually it became accessible for some reason. It's like, ah, it's a little kite, not
yeah, I
the
think just
two
that
on.
one-handed flying,
Mm,
and the ease of that, because Sam's, I would try on the beach one-handed and it just always seemed to like to be spread out a little bit. And,
mm-hmm,
it took a lot more finesse, like a little bit of deflection in the handle, and
mm,
I just wasn't able to put it all together. I didn't even really try in the water. I think I tried to order one from him back then and it just never showed up. And I don't know, it was kind of one of those things where it's like I wanted it to work, but I just couldn't make it work, you know?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The stars weren't aligned for the pocket wing and me. So my first real experience was on the BRM 2.9 and
Nice.
spent a lot of time on that thing. A lot of walks of shame and just trying to force a 40-liter board and yeah, you name it. I've got the
Mm,
story. And yeah, it was a journey and now we've got way better equipment to kind of enjoy and
mm-hmm.
um yeah, I
What were
just
you? What did you get on first, board wise and foil wise? Do you remember your first couple of sessions? What gear you were
yeah, so
riding?
I went straight for the winging board. It's a
Yeah.
40 liter 50
Phew, that's
KT.
tough.
Yeah, and it would work above 30 knots or 30 miles
Yeah.
per hour, I think that, you know. So it took me like a week just to learn that. Like,
Mm,
don't try unless the gust is hitting 30, right? But that was a week of walks of shame
yeah.
and forcing it where I was like, oh man, if I just get up, if I can just get up, like it's on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I was already my first or second, I think my second session was like pure success
Nice.
where I was like doing wave laps, packing it down, I mean, probably having problems with that, but like still doing it.
Yep.
So it was like all I wanted to do for the rest of that week, except the wind just wasn't enough for that
Mm-hmm.
setup. And I think it was probably a 600 or 700 front wing. I slowly
Mm-hmm.
started moving that foil up to the 1,000 zone, which is
Yeah.
when I call it Gregging. So
Yeah. He's
when you
just
ride
on the
when you,
same foil the same all the
yeah,
time,
when
isn't
you
he?
ride the 1,000 or, you know, I'm sure even bigger, that's when you're Gregging, you know, you're not out there
Mm-hmm.
to like shred these super hard turns. You're out there to just enjoy life, you know,
Yeah.
cruise, you know, try new things. Like, I don't know. I actually have found so much happiness in that, you know, 1,000 range lately,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's like makes life easier, right? So why force it? And the pumping game just turns on too, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing for you to understand about the Parawing when you started?
Oh, hardest thing. I would just say getting to a level of, you know, high success on the stowing and throwing out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really have enough practice on that. And
Mm-hmm.
even just kind of taking some time off on it this summer where you're only doing it maybe once or twice on a downwinder. to now we've got waves. Today was waves. So there was some, some things to be worked out a bit, some kinks
Yeah.
that I'm like, oh, I'm kind of making some bad mistakes on this stowing. So yeah, like the knowledge is there, but if you don't use it, it's not going to be, it's not going to work, right? So
Yeah.
I think there's a routine that has to be kind of programmed in your brain and with your hands and everything. So until you get a lot of reps at that, you're not going to have it. And
Hmm.
same with that BRM, which will, to their credit, you can be pretty sloppy with that routine and get away with it more.
Probably the only one you could do that
Yeah,
because it is the one that has the shortest lines, the best kind of fabric to actually pack it down. So I agree.
yeah,
Like you get away with a lot on the BRM that you wouldn't on like the Ozone just because of how it's built. Really.
exactly,
Mm,
exactly. And
yeah, that leading edge profile being so small, like all those things, right? Like.
yeah, I feel like I was just like manhandling that thing and just stuffing
Mm.
it into whatever and just pulling it out. And I think that was part of the enjoyment of that phase.
Mm.
Um, and then the transition from that into the ozone wing, which you get a lot more performance out of, has been amazing.
Hmm.
I can't go back. Every time I try, I'm like, whoa, how did I have so much fun on this thing? But
Yeah.
it's when the wind's just right for it, maybe there is a place for it, but it's hard to hit that perfect wind. And Maui, we get a lot of variable conditions where the wind's way up or down or gusty or this or that. And you really need a wing that can perform in that. So,
Hmm.
but when you get
Well,
that perfect day, it's hard to ignore that wing. And it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and look, I love to talk about gear because I think you've experienced, probably the best parawings out there. You've touched and used and got a feel for them, and there's so many things that we can talk about parawings and performance. And what do you think kind of attracts you to the style of wing that Ozone put out? What about it is really like, oh, I can't live without this now?
It's really quiet. um I think that was the first thing that hit me, was like, wow, it's so quiet. And it really brings you more into the foil, more into the elements. It allows a lot of depower too, which is huge. I mean, we
Hmm.
all talk about it, and it seems like if you don't have that now, you're not really making a pair wing that people want.
Yeah.
Um, I think there's more room for improvement on that on all the brands, but it's definitely a huge game changer to be able to um, crank up wind and kill some power. And then just how fluid everything is, with the bar, with being hooked in. I do a lot of hooked in riding, so
Hmm.
uh, it really just feels super balanced on that side to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been experimenting with all the other brands. I just got to ride the F1 frigate not too long ago, and I've got to ride obviously the new BRMs right when they came out, the V2s.
Hmm. Hmm.
I tried the Paia on the beach, and yeah, I couldn't get behind that. But there's all kinds of innovation, which if you could take a little bit out of each brand, uh, I feel like we would have that perfect pair wing that we're all searching for.
Yep.
But right now, it's hard to get that feeling from any of the others. Like I've spent the most time on the ozone, so that's kind of why I'm drawn to it as well. If I spent the most time on any of the other ones, I'm sure I would learn to love them, and maybe the
Hmm.
ozone doesn't feel the best because I'm just so used to that other one, right?
Yep.
Um, but I know a lot of people have trouble with the lines on ozone, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Those are the nicest lines. Like I've never, my hands are never chafed. Like
Hmm.
it's so smooth climbing up and grabbing them. And yeah, I think the whole line thing is really interesting because like I spent a long time on those other lines, and when I go back to them, I have a hard time. So it's all in what you use and what you're used to. You know, there's not really like a right or wrong yet.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone thinks they know because they have experience on something specific, right? But no one really knows. Like we're all just having fun and guessing and thinking that we know because we have experience. But yeah, I think that's why I love it so much is everyone's trying everything. It's super innovative. Um, Something that works for this guy is not going to work for that guy, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like, I got this figured out. I'll show somebody something like this is definitely the way. This is the only way. And then they come around and they do it a different way. And I'm like, well, that's your way, you know,
Yeah.
and we're both right. So yeah, it's just a cool time to be in the sport. Yeah.
Yeah, I like what you're talking about. Like the wing that you ride the most becomes, you know, the one that you kind of prefer. I've been on the BRMs now, the V2s for a little while, and every time I get something else, I try to pack it down. I'm like, oh my god, like the stowability just became such an important factor for me that I can stow that Parawing in like 5 seconds now, which is
Yeah.
pretty important to what the style of riding that I want to do.
Yeah.
So then when I go on the Ozone, I do feel the longer lines kind of impeding that. Sometimes, you know, that there's a little tangle that it's hard to get out of. But in saying that, there's a lot of things that we can do to make them better. And I'm curious to know, like, what kind of little tweaks or alterations have you done to your Parawing to get it closer to how you want it to perform?
So on that 3 meter pocket rocket, the first one I ever got, I was probably the first one out of the gates. I know I was that just chopped the lines, and I
So
pretty
everybody
much,
chopped the lines in Maui, didn't they? Like it was a
yeah,
chop shop kind of event.
kind of leaded the force on that one. I just I had a couple sessions, and it's like we were saying where you know, I'm just so used to that BRM and how
Mm,
easy it was to just, you know, the V1 specifically, how easy it was to stow. And the line length too. I was just so
yeah.
used to that combo that anything that wasn't that, I couldn't get behind.
Hmm.
And now I've kind of made it a point not to chop any of the other sizes. I'm lucky in Maui that you know, the 2.4 is my go-to,
Hmm.
and it's probably the best Parawing ever in my mind. Like I can't think of a better. I don't know if you've gotten to use the 2.4 pocket rocket, but it's just unbelievably good, and it
You know,
hits all the
I
marks
mean,
for.
any small Parawing is amazing, isn't it? The smaller you
Yeah,
go, it doesn't even have to be that good. It's just like it's so small, it's so nice. I've used the
yeah,
3 meter a lot, but
yeah,
it's not mine, so I didn't chop any lines or anything like that.
yeah.
Are the lines on the 2.4, 2.4, 2.5,
2.4. Yeah,
2.4 a little smaller, or they come stock like the
yeah.
3?
So a little smaller. I
Okay,
would,
cool.
you know, if I had my perfect length, it would be like a few inches off, but it's really close. And because it's a smaller wing, having that little bit of length and low
Hmm.
end is nice when you need it. Like even
Hmm.
today when I was out on it, I was like kind of glad I have that just extra 3 inches or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I've also like hooked up this harness line in a way where it's like gives me even more length. So
Okay.
I'm using the harness line a lot to hold with one hand and get the wing further away from me, just
Hmm.
to get out of, you know, lower winds or holes of wind. And it's really working well.
Is it
But
one
yeah,
attachment point on the bar or two?
two attachment points.
Okay.
It's actually like the center line for a kite bar.
Yeah.
And you may have seen other people that have done it, but yeah, I tried to share that right out of the gates with everybody on the Ozone team. Just like, this is it. This is the,
Hmm.
and they have like the single attachment point ones, which are great too for a lot of people. But I'm still loyal to my original, two attachment point. Um,
Very close to what you're
it's
used to with the
really
kite.
stiff. Yeah, it's really stiff. And, I don't know. I love being able to hold it and fly the kite well off of it. Yeah.
Hmm. So how long did you end up, you know, putting your lines, like from like the A lines. I measure them through the A lines just to get an idea of how long they are.
Yeah, it was right around that 9 inch, 10 inch mark on the
Yeah.
but if you look at the BRM website, they have retract length
Hmm.
and pretty much just matched it perfect to that V1 2.9.
Yeah, gotcha.
But now knowing what I did and seeing all the guys on these forums and how they're doing it, I'm like, oh, there's actually a better way to do that without chopping your bridle lines.
What are
But
they doing?
I literally just did a straight chop and tied a big knot and then large headed to the knot. Like the
Yeah.
fastest, get me out there. I don't have time for this. Sinbad took it to like, or Kenny, I think, both of them took it to another level. They did a nice splice and,
Yeah.
proper kite line. Um, and then, yeah, so the other way is you basically mark the lines where you want it. You can do a really unique knot that some guy came up with that goes through those little leader lines and then do a really clean wrap job from there. There's a
Nice.
couple different ones floating. Some are way better than others, though. I saved all the pictures. I got to do it maybe to my bigger sizes because I want to wave ride with them.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like I really just figured out how to manage the longer lines, which has
Mm.
been a journey.
It
It's
would have been,
definitely a
man,
journey. Yeah.
because well, that's something that we never got to do in any other sport. I mean, sinker starts are hard on the Parawing shore, but you probably did 100 of them on the wing before, so it's just a matter of finding how it works on the Parawing. Like packing down a kite while riding, we've never done before. So, what did you find helped you manage those longer lines? Because a lot of people, we talk about parawinging and we're talking about 2-3 meter parawings, but I don't know. I think 50-60% of the people out there, they're on 4 meter parawings because they're
Mhm.
not riding in 30 knots. So, what's a tip to manage those lines a little bit better?
Yeah, so I've in the last few months since the pocket rocket, I've really gotten to play with all these sizes that I didn't really even get to before. I just had the one 2.9 for a long time and then the three ozone for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just starting to really dive into all that. For the Amua race, I was on a 5 meter. Yeah, so it's unbelievably stable and fun to ride even in crazy wind. So good job on Ozone side for that one. But the line length is insanely long, right? So how do
Yeah.
you manage that? It's a process, right? It's a learning process. You really have to be clean with every movement you do with the lines. You can't get ahead of yourself. You really have to be methodical. You really have
Mm-hmm.
to make sure everything's going where it needs to go. And it's it's kind of a multi-step process on that 5 meter, but it is very achievable. Um, which yeah, I do a lot now, but it's not ideal for pure wave laps. There's no doubt about it, especially smaller, shorter wave. But
Mm-hmm.
for downwinder, totally manageable.
Yeah.
I feel like my lines could be crazy long at this point, and I'll figure out how to do it. Um, so yeah, it's just spending the time with them. I think more than anything, and the frustrations are usually from people that have tried it once or twice. They
Yeah.
didn't really commit, and you truly do need to commit
Mm-hmm.
um, to whatever product it is. Like, there's no right or wrong one. We're all just having fun, and as long as there's a smile on your face when you're done, like that's really all that matters. Um,
Tangle or no
yeah,
tangle, if the smile's there.
but yeah, with the ozone specifically, like there's a lot of guys struggling on a lot of other brands, and we give them the ozone, and they're straight up win, and we're like, that's definitely that's a unique thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's something with that beginner that, or even intermediate, like strong wing foilers that just can't get it to click on other brands, and then they throw the ozone in, and they're they're really doing well. Um, but yeah, maybe they don't have that stowing side on the Ozone, so that's their next learning curve from there. But
Yeah,
they're getting where they want to go, and I think that's more important than how well you can stow it and throw it back out.
yeah. And I think the stowing comes with a little bit more experience in the sport. I think when we begin, we get that little tunnel vision vibe when we're stowing. We don't see much. Everything is like very close and it's just a blur everywhere. And you're just trying to manage these lines. But one thing that I found helpful is every time I put the Parawing down, I'm packing it down the same way. If I'm coming back from a session, if I'm putting it into, the travel bag or whatever, it always packs down the same way. And I kind of split it into 3 components, and then everybody can take that and try different things. But one is like, grab your leading edge. You need to be able to grab your leading edge. Number 2 is know where your bar is and isolate the bar and lines. You need to be able to break those apart a little bit. And then the third component is the line management, which you were talking about. And there are so many ways to do it. But if you think about it that way, 3 elements to make the stowing the best it can be is just to be able to identify leading edge bar and line separately. And then just take your time with it. On a wave scenario, I think it's a lot harder. You need to have the proper gear, maybe shorter lines, and then those things come into play a little bit. But on a downwinder, if you know how to downwind, take your time with it, right? You don't have to stow in 10 seconds. You can stow in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel the energy, you're comfortable, you know what's happening, you do one step at a time, and I guarantee you're going to be stowing that thing neatly, if you just take your time. And then you have, 10 miles or whatever to ride, and it doesn't, you're going to lose 3 minutes of it. It's fine.
Yeah. And I really try to push everyone into bigger foils too, just to give them
Yeah.
more time on foil once they do collapse the wing, right? I mean, time is your best friend with foiling, and the more time on foil, the better. So it's if you're not using the wind power, you really need to be on bigger foils to enjoy it, and
Mm-hmm.
especially on the beginning phase. Like, I'm still having just so much fun on bigger foils lately. So today was an exception because we had true waves, but yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. Like, there's a happiness factor that we always need to touch base on with, and what's going to make me the happiest, and it's to get a nice clean stow, to
Mm-hmm.
like just have a good enjoyable experience. And yeah, that's Gregging right there.
It
He's really
is.
mastered it. And I was a big holdout at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, but I was also just sitting out there getting, just barely trickling downwind while they're just doing laps around me at the start. And
Yeah.
I was just stoked to be out there with the guys at the beginning, and just being a part of it. And then, it all started clicking from there. Yeah.
Yeah, that feeling of a proper relaunch as well and redeploy is amazing. You ride a wave and then you just chuck this thing, you go, and then you're going upwind again. You're like, oh my God, that's the perfect lap. And then you're like, I just want to do that forever, really.
Yeah, and then still to this day, I mean, I think over a year in now, and it's still the most addicting thing. Like, even when even when other things are working here, like, I still prefer the Parawing, and
Hmm.
it's really unique in that way. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's a truer connection to the wind, I think, and this ability just to shift into um, other modes where you're not using the wind as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
You mentioned before we started recording that even though parawinging is bringing you a lot of joy on the water, you still haven't felt the same flow state that you felt in different sports, like kiting and snow kiting, where things are just happening, and you're not thinking about it and you're just going. What do you feel is missing for you to feel that with the parawing? Because that's huge. Like, you're loving it so much, but you haven't gotten to where you want to get to yet.
Yeah, I think there's this visualization you have of how you want to ride, who you want to be when you're in these critical moments, right? And with snow kiting, it it was kind of easy. You just go up the biggest, steepest mountain and you literally just commit. You fly
Mm.
off that thing and your brain goes into some sort of survival mode, even though it's like relatively cruise. It's just this thing like, okay, well, I gotta just clear my mind, stay in the moment, figure this out, right? Um, so that one I'll always love for that. Like it's
Mm.
such a simple way to get to that flow state mindset where you literally are on like a life or death situation. So it comes naturally in that sport for me in big mountains. So then in the kiteboarding, same thing. Kite surfing, I should say. It's usually in big wave scenarios. You
Hmm.
just put yourself in the deepest, craziest section of a wave and you work your way out of it, you know? Um, so those two, I just have so much confidence in the kite, I guess. I've spent a lot of time flying kites. So it always gives me this superpower and feeling that, oh yeah, I'm doing it. I'm in it. Winging, I just happen to be right place, right time, right wave,
Hmm.
and just perfectly flowing and just a pure session of flow state. So I've been lucky to hit that, and same with toe foiling, and I don't know if I've really hit it in the prone world, and I think that's why I haven't hit it in the parawing world. There's a lot of
Mm.
similarities between those two, and that's what I love about it is it's helped me become a much better prone foiler. It's
100%.
incredible how much better I am now at reading waves, connecting waves, taking off on waves because I've been putting myself in situations where the parawing doesn't work anymore. And your only choice is to stuff it in your bag or whatever you're using and figure out how to prone into this wave or this situation that you're in. That's really what I love about it. But I guess back to the flow state, I just haven't quite hit the marks on how I want to ride once I have it all packed up. Um, I really want to find this just ripping mentality, and I think part of it's because I'm using a mid-length, 55-liter board, a little
Hmm.
longer than what I prefer for just carving super critical turns, but it's still a small board in the parawing world. So I'm
Yeah,
like
it is.
playing with that, and I think also it's just being in the right place at the right time, which maybe I just haven't been there yet with the Parawing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's curious because I don't know if it's a gear kind of limitation still, or is it that we just have to get better and we need to be in a critical position and we haven't put ourselves in that critical position yet? Because I think wave riding is underexplored on the Parawing still. Downwinding, everybody, is kind of clicking with it and it has its obvious kind of just it's just better for obvious reasons. But wave riding is hard, man. Wave riding, catching a wave and stowing the Parawing quickly enough to perform where you have to perform on a wave, it's tricky. It's very, condition dependent, spot dependent. We might not have found that perfect kind of spot and day, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, even today was pretty perfect at Ho'okipa. Like, I'm still just so stoked to get a good session there. And it's a very humbling place. Like, any
Oh yeah.
little mistake you make there, your gear could potentially be on the rocks. The Parawing could be a nightmare. You probably just ditch it completely, come back for it once the waves sort it out. Just getting in and out of the water there is like kind of a nightmare with a foil.
Mm.
The kids like Cash and Liam and Andrea and I mean we got so many kid rippers, Marley. All these kids can just make it look effortless, coming in and going out. Um, but I think there's a part of that just growing up near the ocean and living it from day one. And
Not being
And also
intimidated
just
by it. Yeah.
also being at that age, that
Yeah.
perfect age that is pure adrenaline, pure like just ready to go, ready to send it any which way and likely pull it off, which
Yeah.
is always cool for all of us to see.
Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about that session, man, because I don't know if a lot of people even understand, what a wave riding session in Hukipa looks like, because
Yeah.
it's no small feat there just to get out there and back in one piece.
Yeah, so I mean, still relatively small day, like, but for anybody else around the world standards, it's well overhead. It's pumping for
Mm,
everywhere else in the world. For us, it's like, are those even waves? But just because it gets huge out there. But it's the probably the most seen windsurfing wave spot in the world, I would say. Definitely one of the top two or three. And kiting as well. Like all of Jesse's, some of his best stuff is right on this wave at the point.
hmm
Besides Jaws, of course, that's a whole nother game. But it's the best spot, I would say, best wave, critical sections. You really need to know the wave. So it's kind of back to
mm,
what we were saying is like, yeah, the wave and knowledge of that wave really comes into play with surfing, and that's what I enjoy a lot. I think there's a lot to be said there with just knowing the reef, knowing where you can hit a wave, where you have to go fast, where you have to slow down, where it barrels, where it does different things. And this wave has all of that. And it's got outside takeoffs, it's got lefts, it's got rights. There's all kinds of
mm.
names. Even though it's one spot, there's like, I could think of 15 different names that people call different takeoffs there. And there's some shelves that you just can't get caught with a foil at, and there's all kinds of stuff. But yeah, to have a clean experience out there, and just every time I go back out, connecting into a really nice wave, um, getting good back downs, getting good redeploys on my favorite wing on a smaller foil. It just had all the elements to a good time. Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
so sick, man. I mean, I don't know how you don't get into that flow state with those conditions, because if you throw me in a wave like that, I will just like erase everything from my head in a second.
So I mean, it's a high level of enjoyment for me, but I think I really want to take my personal riding to the next level there.
hmm
And I know if Jesse or somebody out there was out there pushing me, I would. But I need that, like, oh, Jesse just did that. I got to step it up. I need that kind
hmm
of camaraderie or whatever it is to really push it. Today, all I'm thinking is, okay, winter is not really even here yet. You got waves, like just take it easy, have a good experience. I think it's myself holding back a bit to have
hmm
just a clean experience. Yeah, clean run or whatever you want to call it.
What
Yeah.
what kind of gear do you ride in those conditions? And I mean, how hard is it blowing, and what kind of you are on your 50-liter mid length on those
55
conditions?
liter. Yeah, it's
55,
like
yeah.
it's a unifoil quiver killer kind
Oh
of
yeah.
great board. Um, Nothing fancy, but they just got the balance and shape right on that one.
hmm
So I've been really happy with that. Really easy to prone paddle it as well. So
hmm
that's kind of my most important thing for a good parawing board is how well can I catch a wave with it? Just
Right.
me and a wave. And that one just seems to be the easiest out of everything I've tried. So that's kind of step one for me, just for that safety and comfort to know I can
hmm
foil back home. Um, Foils, I play with everything and anything. I've got this amazing Access foil right now that's super unique. They let me use it in that Amua race.
hmm
I've got a lot of unifoil evolutions and progressions, and I still like the Vipers. I like
Yeah.
all the
Right.
shapes, all the sizes. I've got them all. I'm kind of a foil whore or whatever you want to call it. Like I try everything and anything. I love experiencing new foils. Like I got an F1 Momentum. It's been a hard one to get behind, but I'm starting to really figure it all out now, and it's super enjoyable as well. So anything that's new, cutting edge, I want to be the first one trying it. I just enjoy that experience. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't even tell you half the foils that I have right now, but the one I rode today was a 115 Evolution. It just does everything that I needed in those conditions today. If it was any bigger, I'd be looking at smaller foils though. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I found, I mean, you were talking about upscaling your front wing for Parawing in general, not necessarily riding waves at Hukipa, but I think that that's something that I've done as well. I'm pretty much on the 850S and 980S from Code,
Yep.
95% of the time. And what I'm finding is working for me is really going extra small on the fuse, so the smallest fuselage that I can put my hands on, and really small tail. And mast, I just ride the 80 mast. I don't ride anything else. I just have that mast, and I'm compensating a lot, you know, the speed that I get from these bigger foils with that smaller fuse. And I guess the Code foils, they're pretty thick, you know, connections and stuff. So the fuse made so much difference in my speed, like ridiculous. Turning obviously helps as well, but without any compromise on the pitch stability. It was absolutely a game changer for me. Have you tried different things in terms of like your foil setup that's been working for you in Parawinging?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm constantly trying everything and anything, any new tail, any shim, any mash shim. There's always something to tweak here and there and learn from. But yeah, I like where you're at. Like I tend to be in that same zone where you're kind of taking a little bigger foil than maybe what you'd wing or
Hmm.
you know, want in a bigger wave situation, but then you shorten the fuse, you make a smaller tail, so you still get that low end to get you up and but then you also get a lot of pumpability, you get that surfy feel from the tail, the shorter fuse. Yeah, I'm kind of in that same zone, probably 90% of the time. Today
That's
was a
cool.
little different. I purposely went smaller and stable. I went like yeah, I went to a different place because I know that wave and it's
Mm.
but I'm still not on the foil for that wave today. Like I need to go lower aspect and smaller and I will. It's just yeah. And that's when I might hit that flow state.
And when you think about downsizing that front wing for performance, do you feel like you would maybe have a little bit of a longer fuse to maybe get that stability back, or it's you're not
Yeah.
thinking about it?
Yeah, no, I mean I think so. I think so. And when I go lower aspect, I tend to like a little bit more length on the fuse.
Hmm.
Not too long, just like your standard medium length probably. But yeah, I've just each foil has its own things that you're trying to get out of it, and that's really what I've taken from unifoil is all the little shims, all the little different fuses, and they really allow you to make any front wing adaptable.
Hmm.
And I really like that. I enjoy that tinkering. I think it's not for everybody. Like obviously a lot of brands like my F1 Momentum or Lift or whatever, you know, you just put it together, it works great. I love that too. I guess at the end of the day, I like it all, you know.
Yeah, just a frother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's new and it does something really cool or makes you better, I want to try it though. Like that's the
Yeah.
bottom line. Anything that makes me better at something that I'm is a goal of mine, I'm into it. So I'll usually buy it. It's that simple to me. If I feel like I'm just doing the same stuff on just a different feeling thing, maybe not that
Mm.
exciting about it, you know?
Let's
Um,
talk about gear, man, because like what you're saying, I think, man, it opens up so much because I think we haven't really reached a point in parawinging where we have all the gear that we want, the way we want it. And I'm thinking bar, stash belts. You were mentioning dry bags as well before the show. So, what do you feel we still need to crack or we need to create?
So, I mean, just from today's session, it was very obvious, even though Ozone has made the best stash belt hands down, it's very obvious that having that wing in that belt in like the shore break, just getting in uh out of the water was a
Mm,
hindrance. And you know, you can never really have it too packed down. You can never really have it like any kind of ball of water that's attached to you is not good, right? So, and that's kind of what happens with pretty much all the stash belts right now is that they're kind of a hindrance when they're super wet, right?
hmm
So this spot, just to get out of the water, like you don't want anything to flying in the air. You want all hands on deck, like ready for anything to hit you at any moment. Otherwise, you're gonna get pancaked on a rocky shelf and worked on a shore break. And yeah, it's luckily there's lifeguards there, but I'm lucky to never have to use them too, right? But even today was a little challenging. The stash belt was kind of holding me back a bit in that moment, just to
hmm
try and scrape in. Um, if I was cash, for example, I would just fly in, kind of hit the beach and jump off and you know be that all star. And that, you know, I think that comes at a cost to your foil for sure, because if you hit that shelf, which you know
mm,
it's inevitable, you're gonna pay the price in your foil for sure. So if you get the gear for free, you kind of think of things a little differently. But you know, after my experience, I'm like, I'm ready just to hit that shore, you know, next time and just send it. Um, you know, if my foil gets dinged, that's a good thing. I'm using it right.
yeah.
So yeah, I kind of went on a sidetrack there. Where
Yeah, you
were
were
we on
talking
that?
about the stash belt because
Oh yeah, yeah.
I totally agree with the belts in general. Once you have the Parawing in there, it's kind of okay, but once you take them out, you know they get really loose on the body just because the Parawing is keeping the belt kind of tight. What do you have in your mind to kind of improve that?
So I'm pretty much always taking two pair wings now. That's
Okay.
kind of been just something I've been playing with, and the more I do it, the more I feel just another level of comfort out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always using a backpack, basically a really small backpack to stuff an extra wing into. Um, haven't really needed it too much, like maybe one time on a downwinder, but like it's I've definitely given it out a bunch to other people,
Right.
and
Interesting.
I like being that guy. I want to save people. I want to help people. You know, I don't want people struggling, whether they're doing whatever. It's like, yeah, let's all just work together to have fun, right? Um, so yeah, anybody that's at that level that can do that should, because it's just
Mm-hmm.
bringing more positivity to parawinging and showing everybody the light, right? If it's a sup paddler that's defeated, give them a parawing to get them home. If their paddle breaks, whatever, you know, like
It's a
get them
buddy system.
stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's out there looking out for each other is the way I look at it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's just kind of a good mindset. But back to the equipment side, I think it's a backpack. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's integrated with a harness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, ride engines kind of got something that works. You know, Kenny rides with it a bunch. He
Yep.
likes it. I haven't found what he's found with it, but
Mm-hmm.
I've also not played with it enough. But I do like that there's a backpack integrated. I like that there's a harness integrated. I want the harness connection to be a little lower. Um, the chest thing, I just haven't felt that much comfort in yet, but maybe I will. I maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's just my kiting background is too much into that like waist zone. Um, but yeah, well, that's still to be determined there. But
Mm.
I find the one issue though is you do need to be able to do that shift, right? Where your harness is out and then your pouch is out or whatever, you know? So
Yeah.
what Ozone put out was really good. It's just if you have the wing in it and you go underwater, it becomes an issue. So how we solve that is to be determined, right?
That's
And
a
it may
tough one.
be,
Yeah.
yeah. And maybe you just don't, yeah, I don't know. But someone's gonna figure it out. We got a lot of smart guys in the forums working on all these little things and you know, I do have a dry bag that I'm really liking on my back that is really small, fits everything
Hmm.
I need for downwind runs. Um, that's what I'm liking right now, but it can be better. Like everything can be more integrated with itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's what I want to see. And yeah, any brand try to take some tips and let's get this thing going. You know, it's obvious to me that this is the future. This sport is just everybody I've gotten on Parawings is just so thankful, and
Hmm.
I love that. You know, it's like I feel like I'm changing their lives. You know, and you know
And
I
you are,
I
dude.
kind of went
It's
through
true.
this. Yeah, yeah, in a small way, but yeah, anything that brings people happiness, in the water, especially, it just they're going to be better people at life too. They're going to share that stoke. So, yeah, share your Parawings. That's kind of what I'm
100%.
putting out there. You know,
As soon as I see
um,
someone on the beach and they're kind of looking at me and then they look twice, I'm like, come here, man. Put your hands on one and just get a feel for it. And, it doesn't take them
yeah,
too long to get into the water.
yeah, and to kiting's like detriment. The lines have been a
Mm,
scary thing for a lot of people, and
hmm.
I've maybe had one Parawing mare, if you want to call it that,
Let's
where
hear it.
like it's all just like wrapped up in the foil,
Oh,
lines
shit.
everywhere, you know, just like blowing 40. Every time I flip the board up, it's just wanting to hammer back down at me.
Yeah, that's.
Um, I'm drifting towards this like point of just being dry docked on a reef, and you know, there's just so many things, and then it all started because of this it all started because it's like this race time, right? When race time happens, like everything experimental starts happening. You know, it's like, what is the biggest parrot I can take? What is the smallest foil I can take?
Mm,
Where's the limit on this? So you know, you want to find that and then pull it back a little bit, right? That's kind of the way I've learned everything is find the limits and then take a step back, right? Um, so that was part of it. It was a unique day. The wind was a little more onshore, and I was taking a four, but it was the windiest parawing experience, most powerful parawing experience in my life.
a four and how many knots?
Uh, I mean, we're touching 40s for sure. We're in the 40s, so
That's
so
so
it's
lit.
sandblasting on the beach, and the unique thing that day was the wind was a little more onshore.
Mm,
So instead of hitting that, more downwind angle, I'm actually like scratching this more broad reach angle and I have to clear the reef here. If you don't clear the reef, you take an inside track that's pretty dicey, and there's things you might hit, especially on
mm,
the low tide, which it was. There was just a lot of things that all like came at me at once, and I'm like, oh man. But the beauty is if you don't overreact, you just slowly work through
mm.
it. It all came together, ended up being one of my fastest runs ever. And I learned a lot like from that experience. So, you can take a lot of positivity from even the worst experiences, especially when you don't get hurt. That's the big one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like what you said there about in all that chaos that sometimes you find yourself in, you can be calm. You could just stop doing everything. Just look around and, just take that 10 seconds just to, center yourself, and then just work, one thing at a time, and hopefully everything works out. But you mentioned that this was it in preparation for the Paddle race?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know if I was truly committed to parawinging then on the
Mm-hmm.
races. But I was sampling, right? I still have that, wing racing background in my mind that I can, that's kind of where the most competition is
Mm-hmm.
on who can go the fastest. And, but I hadn't been winging. Like once I got my parawing bug, it's hard to go back to the wing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've got this brand new Alula wing, like the best thing that's ever come out, and I haven't even touched it yet. It just sits in the bag, still in the plastic. I know it's going to
Wow.
come out. I know it's going to come out with the waves for sure. There's no
Mm-hmm.
doubt about it. But I also just want to be, I have so much progression and things I want to do with the Parawing. So whereas the wing, I'm already at the level I want to be. And for me, it's just wave riding and with small foils, small boards. With the
Nice.
Parawing, there's a whole plethora of options, right? What am I doing today? Am I wave lap? Am I doing this? Am I downwinding? Like
Mm.
all of them work today. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, you're going to go to the closest place to your house. You're going to get a session, get stoked on parawing, and then come talk to Dan.
Nice.
And it's and yeah, I love the wave riding. I always have. For me, that's probably the most fun, more so than downwinding still.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing with the downwinding that kind of got unlocked this year for me was just the longest wave of my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's multiple waves, but it feels just like this endless wave at a certain point, right?
If you're not
Uh,
pumping, it does. Absolutely.
yeah,
You're just linking. And I kind of have that feeling of a one long ride if you can make it, like
yeah.
with the minimal amount of pumping and just turns and connecting it with turns.
So I didn't have the subfoil downwind experience when
Mm.
I committed to my downwind journey. And it's a lot harder than I thought to
Oh,
read the
100%.
water right and to understand it. And all these top guys have given me little tidbits of advice, and I'm out there thinking about, I'm like, what does that guy think? What is he telling me? This isn't working, or oh yeah, this is working. And then it's like, well, maybe it's just the conditions, maybe it's the foil, maybe it's this and that, but it's really your ability to read the bumps, stay in the right sections. And everybody told me to stay high on these bumps, and lately I've been staying low and having a blast. So I don't know what the right or wrong way is, but it's like what's keeping you from pumping and what's keeping you fast and having fun, right?
Yeah.
So um
Well,
yeah,
if you look at,
it's been
if you look at like the person who I think is the reference, like Kane, just
yeah,
being high on that mast and
yeah,
maximizing the energy is just what he does, and the style that he does it with as well. I love it because I like talking about these races now. Like I remember, I think it was Paddle and Moo. I can't remember now, or M to M, where he had something, a little glitch on the start. Can't remember. He kind of fell back in the pack, and then it was Larry Foiler's video that I saw from the start of the race, and then everybody just passed him. But everybody is like, hunched forward and paddling, and all of a sudden you see Kane just like lean back, super high on the mast, and
yeah.
just start to like do these longboard cars and just pass everyone surfing. You
Yeah,
know?
I feel very blessed to be around him in the water and to see him from the beginning of riding at Ho'okipa and really putting on a show. The first real show I saw was Titawan
Mm,
with the wing at Ho'okipa, and I was like, whoa, this guy is next level. I didn't know you could even do these things with a wing. And then Kane has done anything and everything with the foil in that zone and every other zone. And yeah, his downwinding is just like the most um, unique thing. I mean, to not put that much effort into it and still perform at the top level is incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a
Um,
little bit about these races, man, because,
yeah.
well, you won it. Let's start
Yeah.
with that. You
Yeah.
won it by 4 seconds.
It was tight. Yeah.
That was super tight. But I
Yeah.
got a little bit of a lowdown from Sinbad in
Yeah.
Hood, and her eyeballs were like this big when she was talking to me. She's like, "Oh my god, it was doing this and this," and she slayed it. She came in fourth.
Yeah.
Tell us about that race, man. Like, what were the conditions like, and what was it like to race a Parawing?
So conditions were interesting. We all are at Maliko Gulch, kind of looking out the water, guessing what the wind's doing. Everyone's talking about how windy it is. And I'm looking out there, I'm like, yeah, it's cranking. Um, but there was a point where I looked back out before, like during this meeting, the skippers meeting, and I was like, it kind of looks a little lighter. I'm just gonna send it with the big wing. And it ended up being a really good decision. However, it's very hard to do in high winds, right? To manage a giant 5 meter in high winds is
Oh
not,
Lord.
and it's something people don't do. And luckily, I did a race with Alex Aguera. He kind of hosts races before the race and really puts a lot of effort into getting guys out there and having fun on these downwinders. And
Mm.
he had one where I'm literally battling one of my really good buddies on a wing who, we raced a lot, and I'm going just as fast, if not faster than him. He's on the latest, greatest Mike's Lab. I'm on like a Levitas at that time. And
Hmm.
yeah, we're just sending these crazy runs, but the starts have always been very tricky. And, without giving out too much help there, I would say, you know, learn how to manage the wing at the start. That's the key,
Mm.
right? How are you going to get to that start line in control and get back up and on foil with a big
Hmm.
wing? Because if it's a pure just downwind, no stowing, no anything, um, yeah, you got to be able to bring the heat. You got to have the biggest thing out there, I think, on downwinding, or the wind's got to be crazy fierce, and then you can downsize. But and it was almost there. We were like right on the, right on the kind of teeter totter. But the start hit, Kane's literally right there telling me to get up, go. I hit a weird bump, face planted.
Oh shit.
I was out of the race in my mind already. Hadn't it was like oh, I blew it,
Yeah.
Everyone's gone. And then the sup guys were just sitting there watching basically. And it's a little hectic because there's like what 400 people or something in the
Yeah, it's like
water.
so. Yeah, I saw some
So
images. Just so much going
to
on.
try and navigate that, let alone, get everything together right at the start, and especially with a 5 meter where you need like kind of a runway.
Mm.
um, it's a lot. There's a lot of things going on, and the water's not the smoothest place either. It's pretty choppy at that start. So I just blew it. I didn't have it in that moment, and fell. So then it was just like, all right, you got nothing to lose. Just go as fast as you can. Versus if you're in the lead, you can kind of like hold back a bit, right?
Mm.
So I saw Marley the entire time. He was always ahead of me that entire race until the end. And I think there was an advantage to that. He's one of our best spoilers and
Mm-hmm.
athletes here, another young ripper. And I just had this little bit of advantage, a little bigger parawing and just a little bit more vision on the angles and how to just
Mm-hmm.
cut a little bit off of his time.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously to catch up to him was all at the start. Like I just had to really go hard, really hard, right once I did get it together. Um, and then the finish was kind of unique with the parawing. It was kind of onshore, kind of light. So the angles were weird. The
Mm.
just keeping just making a turn was hard to keep the Parawing from not like falling out of the sky or overflying you. My final turn uh was very behind, like the wing was completely upwind of me. I'm just like pumping for dear life towards the finish, like, come on, baby. And it eventually reinflated in front of me, and I was like, thank you,
Oh
and just
God.
made it in. And then it's like a little bit of a running finish, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, they do a great event, and it really brings everybody from Maui together that foils, and it's for a good cause. It hits all the
Mm.
marks for me. Even if I wasn't going to do the race, I'd sign up for it just to donate to this cause. It's really great. Kids with
Mm-hmm.
special needs, um, they need all the support and help they can get. So it's really cool, and lots of good community vibes, and people coming in from all over the world. It's more of a sprint though. I think it's like 20 minutes, where your M2Ms, your M2Os, you're signing up for a
A
much
mission.
longer,
Yeah.
mission. Um, yeah, yeah, and I love those for different reasons too. But they kind of push me to another level in endurance and stuff that I don't necessarily enjoy as much.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas just like fast sprint is just always fun for me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What are the conditions like when you're actually in the race? Like, was it like big swell that you had to navigate? Because I mean, I'm imagining once you're in a trough of a big swell, you don't have wind, and then all of a sudden you come out, there's like wind behind you, or is that just not a thing?
Um, yeah, it's definitely a thing. You're navigating bumps and overtaking them the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
There's moments of just pure overpowered crazy. I'm at the top. I got to drop in, and you have to be able to manage that power in that moment. And then there's moments of nothing, and there's moments of making transitions where
Mm-hmm.
the wing is not doing anything, and there's moments of grabbing lines and luffing, and you're still trying to hit that fall line, like like Kane's hitting. um so the race before that Alex put on, I was able to stay right in line with all the sup foilers, top guys like Finn Spencer, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool to be able to do that. And with the Parawing, it allows me to do that. It allows me to track these guys and really learn what they're
Oh, you would
doing.
learn so much. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so Maui's very special in that way. Like we do have probably the most talent out of anywhere, and these guys are sending it every day. So if you get lucky to get behind one, really take advantage of
Mm.
it. Use the Parawing to keep up with them if you have to, and then grab it, stow it, try to do what they're doing. Good luck keeping up with them.
Good luck.
It's but the foil sizes they're using is crazy small. The speed in which they're going is incredible. It really
Mm.
is. And I'm definitely transitioning more into, the cane style, taking that bigger foil and trying to make as much efficiencies in that arena with a bigger size. I really think he's the most innovative foil designer in that world. I
Mm-hmm.
just wish the products he's writing were available,
Yeah.
because everybody would want it. Everybody would navigate towards it. I don't know what the price point would be, but it seems like we're in a mast war a bit right now. Like, who can
Mm-hmm.
have the best mast for the best rider? And I think there's some innovation there for sure. Like having a custom mast built for your specs, your weight, your style. That's probably the future of downwinding in my mind. Um, it's cool to be kind of on the fringe of it all, like seeing it from an outsider perspective, but having that race background in other sports and things.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but it's really amazing to see the level that these guys are at and the commitment they're putting in for I don't know what. It's just pure enjoyment, I guess. It's kind of interesting how committed these riders are to what they're doing.
I
Yeah,
think
I
whenever you
haven't been
put
able
people
to.
in a race,
Yeah.
when you put people racing, you get to a competitive level where you are looking at the one percenters. You are tweaking things that you wouldn't tweak for a session, and that's, I mean, there's a lot of growth that happens with it, even though racing doesn't appeal to me as much as just riding away, for example. The industry in general will benefit from people racing and exploring the limit. And I was talking to you again before the podcast about exploring the limit of the top end of the Parawings. We don't get to ride at the speeds that you're riding in a race, overpowered, and that's where you would see the Parawing react in a way that you would never see it react like that. So how fast were you guys going? Like, what's the maybe average speed? I don't know. Like, I mean, top speed would be ridiculous, but
Probably mid 20s.
mm,
I don't, that's probably your average. I don't track too much anymore. I just try to like get clean runs. That's all I'm
hmm
thinking about. And every time I try to deal with my watch, it tends to take away from my quality of riding a bit. So,
hmm
um, yeah, I'd say mid 20s, maybe touching into the 30 zone
hmm
on those downwind. But it's doing that while you're navigating the bumps is what makes it tricky. If it was flat water, broad reach, you're going to go even faster for sure.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's a different style. And even though you're overpowered, if you're staying in the same spot, if you're going downwind, you're not really overpowered.
mm,
It's almost like you're toe foiling, behind a rope, getting pulled in the moments where you'd normally be pumping.
hmm
And then you have the dropping moments where you're not needing that wing and it's luffing. So it's kind of a really nice balance of effortless downwinding when you keep the wing in the air. And I've I'm kind of like baffled that I find so much enjoyment in it, even though when I downwind now for pleasure, that I'm just stowing it, right? And
hmm
I yeah, I don't have the I guess I don't see the progression as much in that. I guess you can always get more speed out of things or hit of your record times.
hmm
But I already did that with winging, and I don't know if I'm going to beat my winging times,
yeah.
at least with the gear I have right now. So there's that, and then also I don't know, just the progression that I'm making in the downwind world of just reading the bumps and being more like your standard sup downwind foiler or guys that are pushing that limit without any needed help, right? So I want to
Well,
be better at that, obviously, like everybody.
yeah. Look, I'm going to read out some of the times from the race here. You did a 24:04, Marley 24:08, so that was
Yeah,
tight.
yeah,
And that's on the Parawing, obviously. And then on the wing, it was an 18-minute kind of best time. But you, with your time, you would have come ninth on the wing foil race out of like
yeah, yeah.
70 something athletes. And then when you look
Yeah, and
at
I did have that fall too. So like,
true,
yeah, there's maybe a minute shaved off there, just trying to deal with that. But like, I I think there's a lot of room for making that faster, right? And
mm,
it's not something I'm kind of on the same program as you. Like, it's not my focus, but when the race time comes, it becomes my focus, right? So
uh,
I always scramble like the day before for everything. And I love that like maiden
sanding the
voyage.
foils and getting everything.
Well, there's like a maiden voyage on the equipment,
mm,
and there's something about that. Just changing. I'm not the guy that takes the same thing every day.
mhm.
I'm the guy that changes everything and then experiences it and then makes tweaks and then hits it again. And a lot of times I don't get it right, and that's fine. I enjoy that side of it more so than just like optimizing one thing.
Hmm.
So, but everybody's kind of got different things, and yeah.
So how do you see like parawinging growing, man? What's like what kind of disciplines do you see coming up and solidifying themselves? And
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you asked that because it instantly brought me to the event that I
mm,
envision in my mind, right? The race, if you want to call it that, that actually um, is what we all want to do,
mm-hmm,
right? And I've kind of thought through it a bit, and we have a perfect spot for it, which is already like the foil park
yep,
of waves and good times and all wingers and kiters and whatever, everybody's there. In my mind, anyways. I've been there for 15 years, like as much as I can go, and taught a lot of lessons and all that. But anyways, it's kind of up higher where you sit. So you got kind of a peanut gallery, if you want to call it that, where everyone just heckles everything they see. And
yep.
it's always been like that. And with kiting, it was very unique to the point where people would just get chewed up and spit out. Um, with winging, we can get some shore break, and yeah, there's some guys that will get trashed, but it's not too bad. And then, all the prone foiling in the morning is insane
Mm.
there. It's kind of just the spot that is perfect in my mind for everybody and winging, but don't travel there and don't come to our beach. No,
It
I'm
sucks
kidding.
actually.
Yeah, it self-regulates. There's all kinds of stuff involved
Mm,
with that spot too. Just like anywhere. You're not gonna turn up and know what's going on. You're gonna
mm,
get
mm,
humbled very quickly in Hawaii. So it's great, and in that way that we can all just experience it in different ways and have fun. And but back to the special race or whatever you want to call it, I think there's got to be all elements. It's got to
mm-hmm,
have the high speed, crazy fast downwinding. It's got to have the upwinding, of course, as all races do.
mm-hmm.
It's got to have, and this is the part I like, is kind of when you get to that high point, maybe take off on some sort of bump or whatever comes your way when you get there. Then there's the pack ability, the wave experience or knowledge of reading that. It funnels into a slalom course where
Oh,
you cannot redeploy your wing unless you come off foil.
mm-hmm.
So you're literally pumping through a slalom course, which I've seen these competitions where these guys are doing like dock starts
Yeah,
or getting towed in, and they're actually making these radical turns
yeah.
around these buoys. And I'm like,
Wingtips
what?
out and just
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
like, what is this? I've never seen this in my life. And I think on a downwind reach, you could easily do that without as, much pump effort as like
Mm-hmm.
if you're going into the wind or whatever. And then you have the option to either redeploy or keep it stowed. You got to come into another section, which is like the pro pool, we call
Mm-hmm.
it. And I think that's when you have another required pack and pump to the finish, which is in kind of a dead zone. It's kind of in a lee, flat water section.
I
So
like that.
the start and finish are in the same spot where everyone's at. Everyone can see the entire course. The furthest out you're going is just to the reef. It's probably half a mile, and it's just for that one reach. From there in, it's like you're just navigating some buoys, slalom course, and a finish where you can literally track everybody that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
The tricky part's the tides, but we'll figure it out. But
I
I
like
really
that.
want to see this course happen. And because we have reef, we have like even when there's no waves, it works. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can connect this low energy kind of wind swell that comes in. Guys will have to really choose their foil sizes wisely. So it really becomes like who picked the right gear for the conditions.
It's tricky because you want to be fast, but if you're connecting bumps and you're on a 600 foil, you're gonna be. It would be interesting to maybe put like some sort of GPS tracker on the board where we could like take some time off people that are pumping. If you're turning, like you're sweet. As soon as you start pumping, you start adding like a little bit of time to your time to
Yeah.
just reinforce the turns.
Yeah, and I was thinking about like, well, what happens if you miss a slalom buoy
Mm,
or you don't pack it away? Like that should be an option, but you get penalized, right?
mm-hmm.
So, because there's going to be people doing whatever, and they're just
Oh,
like,
it's gonna
it's
be a
all I
free for
could do,
all.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, and yeah, they still get an award. But then the other thing I really want to see is a downwinder that awards the slowest guy that gets the most time on foil, and you're
Mm.
actually like pumping into the wind and like trying to just stay out there as long as you can, but like staying on foil, like that's the key, right? You can't be
Yeah.
like falling a bunch. It's like more like who gets the most foil time. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see where that could go with a big foil, probably most likely. But maybe not. I don't know. But you know, when I ride bigger foils, I tend to like not hit the downwind line that I want. I'm kind of like kicking out of the back of a lot of stuff to find
Yeah.
the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you could do that for a really long time and
Just don't
still
call
have
it
a
a race.
blast.
As soon as you put
Well,
race in the name, then it goes into this weird place of just getting there as fast as you can, and then the all everything you're
well,
talking
I
about goes
think
out
you
of the window.
still I think you still need that for the top guys that are pushing the limits. Like you still need that, but then it'd be really cool to be rewarded for the cruisers and the guys that are going
Mm.
out free riding and having a blast. I mean, I was super jealous of Sam on his M to M run, just cruising, hitting a great line. I took a wing. I tried to go super fast. I did take a line more like the subfoilers just to experiment with it this year. And
Mm-hmm.
I did surf a lot with that, but like I was trying to go fast, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't going for the enjoyment factor as much. And I don't know. I think we really need to be careful not to get away from that too much. And, you know, even in the MUA, it was kind of just like, hey, who goes the fastest? Who takes the smallest this, the biggest that, and just sends it. It ended up being really cool because we are pumping to the finish. We are like
Mm-hmm.
kind of getting pushed to our skill sets too, in that. So it wasn't just who took the biggest thing. It was actually, yeah, there was a lot more to it. Um, and you know Ryan Arzy, who got third, he's a good buddy of mine too, and he was kind of like a sleeper. I was like, whoa, 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 you got a 5.5, and like, where'd you come from? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're a sup foil guy. Like, what's going on here? You know, so it was kind of a funny thing to see. Um, but Marley did it really cool where he parawinged one event, he sup foiled the next, and then he
Yeah.
won the into O on the third, which I was really impressed with, yeah, what he did on that one. So
That
I don't know.
says
I think,
heaps about his talent, doesn't it? Just going from
yeah, and
discipline to yeah.
I don't know if I'll actually be able to beat him again. He really impressed me on that M to O time, and
Mm.
you know his parawinging is going to go through the roof this year.
Oh
So
yeah.
we'll see what happens, and if Andrea, who put up that 18 time
Mm-hmm.
on the wing, touches it on a race, there's no stopping that kid. He's our fastest rider on Maui, fastest foiler. Yeah. Um,
I love the this idea for what is a parrowing, a proper parrowing race, and everything that it has to have to touch on everything that the parrowing can do and give us. But what other disciplines do you see kind of gaining a little bit of strength? And I think downwinding, tick obviously there's something there, and people are finding the benefits of the parrowing for it. But what else?
oh, I think there's a whole plethora of other activities outside of foiling that are going to start happening.
Oh, really?
yeah, Parawing surfing for sure.
Mm.
I'm definitely taking my longboard out to this one wave and gonna start sending some wave laps. I've
Okay.
already started experimenting with that. I think there's definitely gonna be kayakers. There's gonna be jet ski rescues. It's gonna start growing into other arenas where it might just be a safety thing or a
Yep.
backup,
Yep.
but it's gonna be saving the day. We just did a jet ski mission to a wave spot and it went really south on us. And if I had my Parawing, I would have easily been able to navigate the jet ski. Luckily, I had a kite. It all worked out, but the Parawing would have been way less stressful than this kite in this moment.
Interesting.
Um, I don't know. There's just so much to be discovered in that world of rescue. Maybe even lifeguards start carrying them. I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things that can really save the day from my experience. It's yeah, just having, and that's part of why I like having that backup on me. I actually mentioned it to Greg way back in the day. Like, I just want a rescue kite. I want
Mm-hmm.
a kite that saves me if everything fails when I'm out kiting big waves. And he like thought about it, and the reason I brought it to him is because he had the leading edge only kite, right? It
Yeah.
was the simplest kite in my mind of like maybe I have a CO2 cartridge that I just push a button, it inflates, it flies me in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously the Parawing's way better than that
Yeah.
situation. And thank you, Greg, for bringing it to the market like you have. But it's funny that that was talked about that long ago, and we had trainer kites, but it just took this long to get here.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
But I see a lot of rescue situations, a lot of kayaks and different sports, outrigger canoes, you name it.
Mm.
Like anybody that isn't enjoying the wind can now potentially enjoy the wind with these. They fly themselves. I mean, I've got a 2-year-old that I've been handing it off to regularly. Like, you want to fly it? You want to fly it? He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's so
That's
intuitive.
cool.
It's the ease of use on these things is really incredible. And that's really what draws me to it all. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't mention anything about snow kiting or snowboarding with it. Like, I don't know if it has enough power to take
Oh, for
you
sure. No, for sure. Like that 5 meter, 100%. That's what I'm
up,
taking
like up a
into
mountain.
Alaska. Oh yeah,
Oh
up a
wow,
mountain. Yeah,
dude, you
yeah.
have to do that. Like, you're the man to do that.
I'm sure there's going to be some European guys in France that are going to do it. Like, there's
Mm.
no doubt in my mind. Like, the best snow kiters are in that zone. Uh, I'm just lucky that I've been around them snow kiting to learn from these just mountain legends. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of experimentation in that world. It's a way safer option for a lot of people that don't kite and
Mm-hmm.
don't need to fly off the mountain. I think there might be an in between even on the line lengths. Like, I think you might want even longer lines
Yeah,
so
for
that you
sure.
could maybe get a little loop out of it. But even on like those ozone lines, like we were saying, like, how do I deal with those? Like, it's a two-step line process. Like, I know you mentioned you need to be able to grab the leading edge. Well, you kind of don't. You just need to
Mm.
be hitting the right angles or you know, be in this mindset where I'm not holding the leading edge, but I'm in control. I've got
Mm-hmm.
my four center lines, and I can do another step to get to the leading edge from there. It's kind of like a big depower a into the same thing you're doing, but it's all about managing the lines correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with if you're in the snow, you're on a ridge, it's blowing 50. The beautiful thing there is there's always a place you can put the kite or the wing that doesn't have wind, and it's usually on the backside of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you can stall it or fly it forward and out of the wind, it's going to be super easy to pack down. So that's what we did with snow kiting. We climb up these mountains and we land our kite out of the wind on the backside of these hills, super steep mountains. Um, And talk about crazy, man. You're like just putting all your faith in this kite is going to land in the right spot, and you're just feeling like you want to just get blown off the back of a mountain,
Oh God.
into probably an Avi zone or whatever. And if you can find comfort there, and it's really helped me with parawinging too. It's like when you are in that complete like out of control mode, everybody's been in it at some point. If you can
Hmm.
find comfort in that mode, you will progress, right?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, don't get frustrated and blow up, just try to breathe through it, and it'll all be all right.
Yeah, slow it down, and ultimately you'll be not just
But
going
yeah, I
downwind
think
like
I think the
crazy.
snow has a lot. I mean, skateboarding too, like why
Yeah.
not? If there's wind, it's like sure. I this thing flies in the crappiest wind conditions,
Mm.
and you can have fun with it in all kinds of ways. So yeah.
There was this guy that he reached out to me on Instagram and he just sent me a video of a frozen lake and he's on skates
Yeah.
and he's on the Parawing just freaking like going, I don't know how fast, but I can imagine as well like a course, like a little go-kart track on that lake. That would be insane to do a race with
Yeah.
the Parawing. And ultimately you would have to go upwind where you pack it down and then you're skating, but then you pop it out and then you do half of the course going downwind. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. So yeah, I think we're just scratching the surface, man. We don't even know. But I think these people, whoever you are out there doing these crazy things, put it out there because man, what he sent me, I was just like that. I want to skate. I'm not a skater. I like to go sideways, but I looked at that and like that looks like so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's like a whole, I came from that snow kiting background, so there's a whole plethora of options on different snow surfaces of
Mm,
what you ride and all of that. And then you've got buggies, you've got
yeah.
all these other land things that guys have done with kites, and I think it's all doable. And even with the wing, like I was jumping off cliffs as soon as I got that thing because I was like, this is going to be sweet to jump off of a a big cliff and land in the water. Same thing with this, but now guys are going wing overs, like we're seeing all these backflips happen, like maybe they're jumping off of out of planes even and just flying around like crazy with it. Who knows? There's going to be all kinds of experimentation. There's a guy I follow on Instagram, like something party before impact or something, but like he's like skydiving, base jumping, throwing a kite out in the air. Like this guy's like the guy to send to Parawing right now and see what he does with it.
Is it Brian Grubb?
I don't know his name.
Red Bull athlete?
He's in Europe though.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I think Brian's in the U.S. somewhere.
But this guy's just hilarious. Like he's just having the best time of his life. He's definitely skating a fine line with his life, but you know, you got to give him credit. He's pulling it off, and yeah. But there's all
Dude, like
kinds of guys like that.
I like what I mean. I want to end this chat talking about because we are talking about innovating and taking things in places where we can't even think about. And what do you think is this mindset that we need to kind of cultivate within parawinging to promote that innovation and promote that progression?
Yeah, so I know before the chat today here, we were talking about the plume a little bit, and I've never tried it. I've flown it on the beach. I've
Mm,
seen it. I've, I really want to bite my tongue on anything negative about it until I
mm-hmm,
tried it. And I think that's really important for any new sport, any new innovation within foiling to keep an open mind, try it before you deny it. And that goes with all levels of foils to wings to whatever's. Just because you see it and you think you don't know. And
mm-hmm,
until you've really tried something and committed to it for a while, you really shouldn't be putting out negativity towards it. I think everything that's made has its place in our market, in our world. And I think try to stay positive on it, because, negativity is what really just drags sports down, it just creates bad vibes in the water. We're all trying to have fun. We're all trying to coexist. Today at Ho'okipa, two surfers are out. I'm out on a parawing. Think a kiter shows up, a winger shows up, and then a windsurfer shows up.
Wow.
We're all out there at the same time, and I'm just thinking, wow, we are coexisting and we're all getting our fun waves, our fun moments. Um, it was a very unique thing to see, and I want more of that. Like with kiting, I really felt kind of outcasted in a way from the windsurfing world, especially here in Maui. There's all these rules that get made on innovation and new sports, and people want to make rules really quickly before really giving things a chance or seeing how it performs historically on safety levels, different things. And it's just really important to stay positive and just support each other no matter what people are doing. I mean, there's there's going to be all kinds of nutty things you see in the world. And when it comes to foiling specifically, I don't care how big their thing is or how heavy it is or how dangerous it appears. Don't knock it till you try it, because that guy's having the time of his life. If he's not affecting people in a negative way or ruining experiences, you're just being, negative. And yeah, I still need to try that plume. The guys I've talked to that really enjoy it. And I want to feel what they're feeling. I want to experience that. Whether it's for me or not is to be determined. I'm thinking it's on the not side, but you never know,
Never know, man.
I don't want to, it could be that rescue kite that I was thinking of that Greg, I wanted to make, because it's kind of that same concept. Yeah.
I like that, man. And it's, to me, I bit my tongue so many times with foiling. When I saw kite foiling, I shat on it, and I was a twin tipper wake style guy that was never going to touch a foil. And then when I tried one, I never touched a twin tip again, which was crazy. Like it was a pretty much like instant flip. And then with the wing, it was the same. I saw the wing and I'm like, pfft. And then I had a whole year that I was just winging because it gave me something that nothing else did. So I had to learn, not the hard way, but like I got shown what, innovation and creativity and fun could look like. And I had to bite my tongue a few times. So now every time I see something, I don't judge it. And maybe that thing is not going to be the ultimate thing, but it's going to give someone else an idea to create the thing that's going to be the thing, So we just need to allow for innovation without being too picky, too snarky, too, judgmental. And I love that point of view that you have. And I hope we can kind of, spread that within the foiling community and parawinging in general.
I think like taking ownership of an area and outcasting new sports is just a wrong mentality altogether. Obviously, the guys before you deserve their credit. They deserve their place, maybe more so than you. But at the same time, we're all trying to have fun together, and you just got to really respect each other on a human level. It's tricky. I know. I'm with you. I judged winging. I judged other things, and then ended up doing them and having more fun than I ever thought. So
yep.
The guy having the most fun in the water is the winner.
Yeah, 100%, man. And it seems like you're that guy, man. Like right now, you have your stoke like super high, wet hair. So yeah. That's what it's all about.
Today was a good day, Every day should be the best day ever in my mind. And big shout out to Jim Bones. He's the ultimate foil legend in my mind. And he passed away, but yeah, he's always looking after all of us Maui foilers and just pure stoke. I mean, this guy shredded harder and longer than any person his age, any person on Maui, period. And yeah, I want to be, I want to bring the aloha that he's got into the, the world. And I'll never be there. Like I'll never get there, but just to try and, think like he thought, be like he was, is just such a good goal to have. And a lot of the stuff I've talked about is the way he lived, and
Mm.
really, really strong influence in my life in water sports. Yeah.
Dude, I want to thank you so much for coming on, John. We've been lining this up for a little while, but good things sometimes takes time to come into place and fall into place. So you're one of the guys that I'm definitely going to reach out, in a 12 months time to touch base again, because I respect your views, I respect your riding, I love what you're doing, and keep sharing that stoke, man. I think that's the ultimate thing. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for your stoke levels, and we'll chat soon, man. No doubt
Yeah.
about it.
Thanks for having me. Hope to see you on Maui one day.
Yeah, I definitely need to hook up that trip. It's going to be probably the next one next year.
I'd say hit the winter, try to get some proper waves,
Yeah, but
experience.
man, I don't need that big wave. Like I don't need those big waves, man. I'm not
Oh,
that.
you can go to the other side and downwind if you want or whatever, but like
Yeah.
the big waves and that, oh man, the energy that is out in the world in those moments on the North Shore is very unique. And that Ka'a spot, you
Yeah.
pick your size. The further out you go,
Mm.
the bigger the wave. You can turn at any time, experience whatever size you want. So yeah, just send it for a winter session if you can. I
All right.
think personally,
I'll
that's where my heart is.
I'll
I
try to
do,
save some money for it.
but the downwind community and the foiling in those race moments are pretty unique too. So they're both cool, but for me, if you're coming to Hawaii, come for some proper waves and get humbled a bit and
Mm.
go home and tell a big story.
All right. I'll do it.
All right. Well, thanks for
Good to
having me.
talk to you, John. It was a pleasure, man. And we'll
Yeah,
chat soon.
you as well.
Cheers, bud.